Hello everyone, welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg West, and today we are doing the Midyear Book Freakout tag. I went through the questions already and pre-planned all my answers for you, so let's get started. Now, I did leave out just a couple of questions, like a book that made me cry, because I don't have an answer to that, but we're going to answer most of the original questions from this tag. I have read 23 books so far in 2026, which is a little low for me. Pre-mahjong, anyway. It probably is going to be my new normal. I'm still only a little bit upset about it, but it's fine. It is. All right, let's get started. So the first question is, what has been your favorite book so far in 2026? For me, the answer is Whispers of the Deep by Emma Hamm. This is the first book in a monster romance series, 5 books in the series, that involves mermen. They're called undines in the book, but it's just mermen. It was a really fun series, and the guys being completely obsessed with the women that they found was a fun read for me. They also have 2. So now you know. I don't know if it's something that you want to read or not, but now you know. Anyway, they were just kind of a fun, good time fantasy romance, and it's exactly what I was in the mood for when I picked them up. Question 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read this year? Technically, this is like my 100th reread of this book, but it still goes to Lyriel by Garth Nix. This well-loved copy I've had for years, and it's a phenomenal sequel. I actually like Lyriel a little bit more than Sabriel, which is the first book in the Abhorsen trilogy by Garth Nix. I also highly recommend this trilogy as an audiobook because it's read by Tim Curry. And the premise for these is that it's an almost YA fantasy horror, and I need more fantasy horror in my life. I'm not a horror person, but I am a fantasy person, and fantasy horror, it hits different. And this fantasy horror is built around necromancy and the dead things coming after you, and I love this trilogy so much. What is a book you are looking forward to coming out this year? I haven't been invested in new releases for 2026. I haven't been invested in new releases for a bit, honestly, but I looked up some books that come out this year just so that I would have an answer to this question. And the book I found is The Book Witch by Meg Schaffer. This book apparently is about a girl who has a magical umbrella that allows her to jump into books and interact with the characters and fix things that the characters do wrong for their plot lines. And she ends up meeting someone who is a detective who she has to have him help her solve her grandfather's murder. That's my full understanding of the book. And it came out earlier this year. It's already out. And it's one that I've added to my ever-growing TBR. The next question is, what is your biggest disappointment this year? I reread Deadly Vows by Brenda Joyce, and this was a disappointing reread. I think I was high school when I first read this series. When did this book come out? 2010. Came out my senior year of high school. So I read this series for nostalgia, and it hit on nostalgia for everything except this book. This book, which was the first book I read this year because I didn't quite finish my reread of the series in last year, so I finished it at the beginning of this year, and there was no reason for a couple to break up. There could have been 2 happy endings to this historical romance series where there was an unnecessary triangle that then got fixed to a double dating kind of thing, and yet, even though things were going well, she decided that one couple doesn't get their happy ending. They end up happily divorced. And she's a drug addict because as an ending to, I think it's like a 7 or 8 book series, very disappointing. Hopefully you're in similar place. The SD card filled up. Fun. But yeah, that was disappointing. What was your biggest surprise this year? Ride. by Allie Hazelwood. I've read Hazelwood before. I read The Love Hypothesis, and it was fine. It was fun. And I didn't think I would like Bride as much as I did. And then also really didn't like Mate. But Bride turned out to be kind of a fun, like, different vampire thing. And the arranged marriage into love is a plotline that I really enjoy. So I was kind of surprised by just how much I liked Bride, as well as then after how much I really didn't like Mate. Do you have a new favorite author? I don't know necessarily about favorite. I'm willing to read more books by her, and that is Emma Hamm. She wrote the Deep Waters series, which I read earlier in the year, and she's got a few other monster romance novels, and I'm absolutely willing to check them out. So if the quantifier for a favorite author is someone that you're willing to read more books by them, then Emma Hamm. Do you have a new fictional crush? We're going back to the mermaids. In book 2, Song of the Abyss, we have Dios and Anya, and I loved them both, truthfully, but Dios, I am a Beauty and the Beast girly. I don't know if you can see her over there, but there's a whole section of Beauty and the Beast, and part of what makes me like Beauty and the Beast is how much he gets fixed by the love of a woman. Realistic to real life? No, absolutely not. One of my favorite tropes in fantasy? Absolutely yes. And this couple fit that so much more. Just so much more than any of the other books in the series. And yes, obviously it's a monster romance. They're all kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but Dios has some anger issues, and when that anger gets turned from against the humans to protecting a specific one, it made him a favorite of mine. The next question is a new favorite character, and opposite Dios, we do have Anya, who is deaf and uses sign language in the books, and I am not deaf. I don't actually know anyone who is deaf, but I do absolutely love ASL and the deaf culture, and being able to see it in a book was phenomenal. So we have to also mention Song of the Abyss for some deaf character content, even though you don't have to do anything really deaf for a character because it's all written word anyway. A book that just makes you happy. And for this, I picked The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I read this book a little earlier in the year. It's not like a fantasy novel that I've fallen in love with completely. I will probably reread it since the second book came out today, Tuesday, as I am filming this. Just want to finish the duology. I had a good time. It didn't take itself too seriously in the fantasy. Some of the chapter titles were kind of incredible. Truly, just kind of incredible. The point where I took pictures and was texting the titles to my best friend. Just because it was a fun time. And the crickets, I had a good time. It wasn't like the best book ever, but I had a good time, and I would be willing to reread it so that I could finish out the duology. What is the most beautiful acquired book for the year? Now, to be honest, I haven't bought a lot of books this year. I've been using the library so much for all of my reading, and most of the books that I've bought have actually just been audiobooks. I did, however, The Complete Language of Flowers by S. Teresa Dietz, and it's kind of an antique floral look on it, and I love that. Plus, the inside, it's just full of flowers and plants and stuff, so it's gorgeous. What books do you want to read this year? High on this list, and I don't know why I'm putting it off, because I know I will absolutely love it, is A Blind Date with a Werewolf by Patricia Briggs. This is an Aziel book that is kind of parallel to the other two Mercy Thompson Alpha and Omega series that are going on, and I love Aziel. Aziel is a fun, almost psychotic kind of character, and I know that I will enjoy this book, and it will be a fast read, and it will be a good read, and I just need to read it. I just need to read it. And the second book on the list of books I need to read this year is Dungeon Crawler Carl. I am left out by it, and one of my goals is to not be left out. about books, but this one actually seems like it would be up my alley. It seems like it's going to be a really good time, and I truly, truly believe that once I start, I won't be able to stop. Considering how many aspects of this book have like infiltrated my TikTok feed, my Facebook scrolling, my Pinterest, there is a flash that I found for one of the local tattoo places that has a whole page of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and having not read any of the books, I still recognize it. Once I actually start reading these books, I know that I will get so sucked in and not be able to put them down. It's just hard for me to get that started. The little cat was in the video 4 years ago, and he is forced to be on film today. He's so cute. Oh, and he used to be so little. Well, hello. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know the answers to any of these questions for you in the comments. I want to know. And I will probably be back next week with another new video. Hopefully, I can at least match the amount that I have read for the first half of the year. For the second half of the year, I can live with that. Have a wicked day.